Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we will be big box store plant shopping at Lowe's right off of I-75 in Plano, Texas. Please make sure you are hitting the like button and also subscribing to my channel. I do 1 hour plant shopping videos daily, and you can see that this is going to be the Lowe's that I revisited after visiting it a couple months back, where a bunch of these hanging baskets and a bunch of plants were actually frost damaged. The greenhouse section actually, for some reason, might have just been left cold. So we're gonna see if they've restocked the plants and what the health of the plants look like. And you can see right over here at most Lowe's entrances, they always have this little setup. We are looking at a ficus lyrata over there. Love the new growth on the leaves. It's actually super yellow, and these are from Costa Farm. These are for $24.98. Now with fiddle fig leaves, they can be finicky. You just have to make sure you are giving it a lot of bright indirect light, and make sure that the watering is consistent and you keep it in like the same spot of your home once you place the plant, so it can acclimate. It really likes its consistency. And then you can see there's a bunch of large foliage plants, larger plants right over here from Costa Farms, a bunch of majesty palms, yuccas, and dracaenas. And we have a bird of paradise right over here. And they've just got a little bit of a section here, this little wooden pallet with some of these urban jungle and live transplants. So we're going to take a look at this right here. And we have a blooming anthurium here. Not a bad price at all, actually, by Costa Farms. These are just typical red ones you see. I have been collecting a bunch of blooming anthuriums and putting them in hydroponics, which is basically just growing them in straight water, no substrates. And then we are going to be looking at some different types of bromeliads from Costa Farms. Love that dark chocolatey leaf color on this one. I don't know a lot about the different types of bromeliad species, but apparently there are tons of them. And, you know, I recently visited Callaway's plant nursery, which is a local plant nursery in the DFW area, which is where I'm actually based at for anybody that's new to my channel. And they had a bunch of bromeliads. I love the pink and just all of the different varieties of bromeliads. It's a plant that I would consider bringing into my home. It's just that they do get fairly large, and I'm not 100% sure if I can actually have the space for bromeliads. But needless to say, these are gorgeous plants, and I appreciate Costa Farms for constantly having exotic plants for us to take a look at, even at big box stores. This one I actually like. I just like that it's just a little bit more unique. Look at that purple and just green tone on the leaves. If you guys know about bromeliad plant care, please leave that in the comments or in the live premiere chats. I really want to learn more about bromeliads, and I love learning from our viewers and subscribers, you know, our community, the plant foldies, which is what I call my viewers and subscribers that watch my videos. Our community is growing. So if you get a chance and you're watching this video right now, please make sure you take the time to hit the like button. Would really appreciate that. That really grows our engagement with the YouTube channel, and I'll be able to get more plant foldies to be involved in our community. And you can see right here, we are looking at a trending tropical xanthosoma. They remind me of caladiums and like alocasias. This one has a new growth point, a new leaf that is about to unfurl. These are for $19.98, and I like the fact that Costa Farms has these new self-watering planters. And right over here we've got a bromeliad. This one's a fairly large one actually, and it's got a different texture about it. And what else do we have here? We have our typical but consistent Dracaena Janet Craig compacta. I'm actually a fan of this particular plant. This one is for $13.98 by Urban Jungle. Let's take a look at this. So this is a ponytail palm, like a baby one. Look at how cute it is. It hasn't really gotten like a massive like trunk, but I do like ponytail palms. If I was going to add a ponytail, like a palm, I would probably get a ponytail palm to add to my collection. And then we have our ever consistent and easy to grow ZZ plant by Urban Jungle. This one is for $13.98. Very easy to grow plant. So if you're new to houseplants, I would recommend getting a ZZ plant. And also a syngonium. Look at the pink on this syngonium right here. This one is also for $13.98. And you know, I am a big advocate for syngoniums. I always talk about this in all of my videos. I just think that syngoniums are very underrated as far as a plant. They're fast growers. They're easy to propagate. You can multiply them easily by water propagation. And here we've got some more bromeliads. Let's see what else we've got over here. It looks like they just have a bunch of larger plants. So we're just gonna take a walk around and actually go to the greenhouse place. Like I was saying again, a lot of the plants, when I visited this particular Lowe's a couple months back, there was like a really, there were some really cold temperatures in North Dallas, and it looked like maybe the power went out, but the majority of their plants actually were like damaged. So let's just see if they've been able to get a bunch of new plants or what the health of the plants look like. Again, when you're shopping at big box stores, you can't always expect the plants to be super healthy just because it's not a specialty local plant nursery like the ones I've been showing you, but you do get some very cost-effective prices. I mean, like, look at this right over here. This is for $24.48. This is by Live Trends. Nice looking fern. I do like the veining on the leaves right here. I don't have any ferns currently in my plant collection, but it is something that I am considering to do. I'm actually finishing up editing this video, and I will actually set up my plant room in my front office of my home just so I can like declutter my home. Since I've been doing plant shopping videos, I have acquired so many plants, and it's gotten to the point where it doesn't really look very good to me anymore. It's actually a little bit more overwhelming. So I want to make sure that I have a space where I can really just have my plants, and it'll just be an area where I can keep that. And then eventually, if time permits and I'm not shy, I will do a houseplant tour of my plant collection, but stay tuned for that. For all the plant foldies that have tuned in so far today, thank you for always tuning into my live premieres and just chatting. If you are watching this video and it is the live premiere, please don't be shy to say hi. That's part of my plant YouTube channel. I think just having that community where we can chat. So we're gonna walk over here and we're gonna be entering the main event to see if they've got some healthy looking plants. So I'm just gonna take the time to browse and stare at the plants. Actually speechless. That's why I didn't really talk, because when I first walked into this greenhouse area of Lowe's, I remember seeing how like all of the plants were very unhealthy. A lot of them were just frost damage, and now this just looks like a brand new greenhouse full of plants. All of the plants are vibrant. All of the blooming orchids, like these Phalaenopsis orchids, are just looking so gorgeous, and everything is organized and styled well. So I am so excited to be able to go to this Lowe's and not think that it was going to be just another unhealthy, sad looking big box store plants that need to be rescued. Like, this is just awesome to see that they were able to get all of these plants, healthy, and they were able to get a new shipment. You can see right here we've got some Phalaenopsis orchids. I am just panning in just because they have so many different faces, and I just think Phalaenopsis orchids, or orchids in general, are gorgeous. What I love about them is literally you can go to a grocery store, big box store, any place that pretty much sells plants, and there will always be orchids. And it's interesting that orchids are readily available anytime during the year. I don't know how they propagate them or produce them, but there's just so many orchids, and there's just so many plants. Like, this whole greenhouse is super packed. So I'm gonna start from the back section and work my way around to show you what kind of plants they have. But I can't get over all of these gorgeous looking Phalaenopsis orchids. It inspires me to, go to a couple more Lowe's, big box stores in the North Dallas area and film for you guys. I know I haven't done as many big box store plant shopping videos, so I'm going to try my best to get some this week. And you can see right here we've got a large Croton Petra. This one's for $19.98. Again, you know, crotons are a plant that they're a little bit more challenging to grow indoors. Now is the time to get crotons, so because you can grow them out in the patio, you can grow them in full sun, and they will do spectacular for you. That's what I'm doing right now with my crotons, that I just have them in the south-facing part of my front yard, and they are doing amazing. And you can see right there, we've got so many big Majesty palms. Now we're going to go over here into the clearance section, also known as Rescue Us Please plants, and I'm just going to take a browse. Now again, whenever you're buying clearance plants from a big box store, my recommendation is to make sure and assume that these plants are the most vulnerable. They're not the most healthy, so they probably have some type of pest lingering. You want to make sure, I mean, with most all of the plants that you buy at any big box or even local plant nursery, you want to make sure that you're spraying them down with some type of insecticidal soap, neem oil, and really checking for pests, and then also making sure that you are quarantining them for at least 2 weeks away from your main plant setup, just because you don't want to bring pests into your home. And here's a little subtle thing about me. Whenever I do big box store plant shopping videos, the clothes I wear, I immediately change out of when I get home and make sure that I get them washed, because you never know, you can get sorts of pests all over yourself while going into big box stores. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but when it comes to pests, I really want to try to minimize that. I mean, obviously we still get our fungus gnats, you know, spider mites and mealybugs, but that's kind of the extreme that I go to when it comes to my pest prevention, because I've had full plant collections get decimated because of pests, and it's just really disheartening. And you can see right there, I just pulled a lucky bamboo. So they've got a bunch of lucky bamboos here. I'm not really a fan of lucky bamboos or just bamboo plants in general. I think they're kind of cool, but they just don't really fit my plant aesthetic. A lot of people bring them into their homes because they think that they are good luck plants. And over here, these are cool. And I do think that kokedamas are cool. These are Bromelia kokedamas, and these ones are for $19.98 by Better Grow. And I actually buy the Better Grow orchid bark mix and mix that into my potting mix for my plants. I think that, you know, Better Grow has some really good products, and I do like that they have some kokedamas available. I would love to make some kokedamas or potentially have some, but again, it's a matter of just where do I hang them and like what does that plant aesthetic look like. But you can see they've got a bunch of hanging baskets here and kokedamas. Look at all of these new hanging baskets. I mean, I just keep replaying that one video, and if you scroll back to some of my older videos, you will see what I mean, where literally all of their hanging baskets were just mush because it got super cold at this particular Lowe's, and all of their plants were pretty much dead, and it's just a bunch of like mush. But look at this strawberry begonia here by Costa Farms. This is for $16.98. This is the smaller hanging baskets, which I honestly prefer. You know, sometimes having a big hanging basket can be a little bit overwhelming, but these smaller hanging baskets are super cute. I have a variegated strawberry begonia that I bought from a local plant nursery called Callaway's, but I did want to show you this. And what I like about the strawberry begonia is it shoots out a bunch of little strings with baby strawberry begonias. You can nip those off and propagate them. And then, you know, it's interesting that Costa Farm actually has, you know, in the tag, fun to share. So I guess they are intending that you can propagate these plants and share them with, you know, your friends and family. I really like that a lot, and I do love just the look of the leaves as well. It's definitely an interesting looking begonia, and I just like how they've got a bunch of baby pups already just hanging down. And then we have a teddy bear vine plant right here. At first I thought this was some type of Triscanthia, but it's not. And you can just see that this one does prefer a lot of bright indirect light. I guess most plants prefer bright indirect light, but this one may not tolerate it. I would assume that if you don't give this plant like the bright light it needs, it would probably get leggy. I would assume that this would also propagate fairly easily in water. This is another plant that if you want to keep it from getting leggy, you're going to have to trim it back quite a bit and just maintain it. And then right over here we have a Pachira aquatica, or a money tree plant. I am in the hunt for a variegated version. It's just a matter of, you know, first of all, saving the money for that. And then second of all, just making sure that my space is put together. So as I finish editing this video, I'm going to make sure to set up my plant room. I bought some Barina grow lights and have my IKEA shelves ready to go. So we will see what that looks like. What else do we have right over here? Beautiful philodendron heteroraceum lemon lime. I have, I hit the jackpot by actually finding a bigger hanging basket of this earlier in the season at Walmart out in the Colony, Texas, and it's still doing very well for me. I actually have that hanging basket sitting inside my fireplace. It's doing actually very well. It's still maintaining a lot of its yellow leaves. Now with, philodendron heteroraceum lemon lime, the more light you give it, the more pronounced that yellow will be. So just make sure you are providing it with quite a bit of light. And then we've got some more hanging baskets here. I really do like that this is super full. I would just assume that this Lowe's just got recently restocked. So which means if one Lowe's gets restocked, then several of the Lowe's in the neighboring areas are also going to be restocked. You can see that this is another mini variegated lipstick plant. Although I don't really see a lot of variegation on this lipstick plant. I don't have any lipstick plants in my collection, but alongside with like the goldfish plant, I do want to get the a lipstick plant. I think they remind me of Hoyas. And then here we have a Calathea orchid. And again, I always say that Lowe's has the most diversity and variety of available orchids. They've got Vanda orchids and Calathea orchids. They've got all sorts of orchids, and I wanted to show you this. Look at how fine these little strings are in the baby plants on your the strawberry begonia here. Like, I would be so tempted to get one of these right now, but I'm not going to. But you can literally just nip that off and propagate that. That would be so cool. So I'm just hoping that I can get my variegated strawberry begonia to grow. Again, there's a lot of plants here, and you can see that there are so many to look at. So I'm going to try to take my time and show you the different plants, but I just kind of want to pan over here and show you what they have so far. For my Hoya fans, this is a Hoya Curtsii in a hanging basket right here. This is for $16.98. Shout out to my Plant Foldy viewer, Kathy from Canada. I know you like some Hoyas, so here's another Hoya Curtsii for you. And thank you for always telling people in the live premiere chats to hit the like button alongside my #1 fan, Luke. Again, it's one of those things where when we encourage people to hit the like button, it really does help out my video. So thank you for that, Miss Kathy. And you can see right over here, we've got some more philodendron lemon lime heteroraceums, and we just got a bunch of plants. Like, I am shocked that this Lowe's looks like a brand new greenhouse, because I'm telling you, if you guys look back through some of my older footage of this particular Lowe's, they had so many dead plants, damaged plants. It really made me really sad. But this is like night and day, and kudos to the staff at this particular Lowe's for really getting their plants back in order. And just look at that. Do you see what I see? This is a Mandula pothos, guys. Epipremnum aria Mandula pothos. Now, my Plant Foldy viewer, Steven, asked me if I could find a Mandula pothos. And here you go, sir. I found one for you. I might take this one for you or another one, but that's the thing, especially for my local plant foldies in the North Dallas, Fort Worth area. If there are requests for me to try to find you a plant, I will definitely do that. I love connecting with you guys. And again, if you're not following me on my Instagram at GrowFolds, please follow me on Instagram. Send me a direct message. I pretty much reply to everybody really fast as well. So Steven, this is for you. I hope I can make your week by helping you find your wish list plant, an Epipremnum Manjula pothos. Again, this one is for $16.98, and I love Manjula pothos. They are a little bit slower growing than the typical pothos plant, but the variegation is gorgeous, and I do like that their leaves are a little bit rounder. Now, when you start to grow a Manjula potho up a totem pole, a moss pole, or a plank, the leaves really get large. I've noticed that in the Philippines, which is where my family and myself are from, they've been selling jumbo Manjula pothos, where it's basically a Manjula pothos growing up a totem. Those are super cool. But yeah, Steven, that's for you when we finally meet in person at some point. Hoping to do that soon, maybe at Plant Keeper Incorporated. So we'll see. But here we have a Hedera helix, or the correct way to say it is Hedera helix, English ivy. This is what is it? A gold dust English ivy. I really love that. And look at that variegation as well. I am tempted to collect English ivies, and call me crazy because I've literally killed 12 English ivies already. Number 13 and 14, my English ivy gold baby, and then also my Bettina English ivy are doing well. I think it's because this time around I've been weekly spraying them with some neem oil, this new like homemade spray that I use for pest preventatives, and it's been doing very well. And I've realized that if you overwater English ivies as well, they don't do well. They like to be more on the neglect side in that aspect. So yeah, but all of these gorgeous looking plants, I'm just going to pan over and show you guys what else they have over here. What an amazing, stunning, gorgeous Dracaena hurricane right over here. This one is by Urban Jungle. Look at the variegation on it. I love the neon color of the plant. If you don't have Dracaenas, and this one's only for $22.98, not a bad price at all. I think that the pot actually makes it a little bit more expensive, but if you don't have a Dracaena in your collection, highly recommend that you get a Dracaena because they can tolerate lower light conditions. They don't need a lot of watering, and they're just an easy to care for plant. And the bonus feature is they can get fairly large as well. So just a really nice plant to put in your house plant collection, especially if you're a beginner. Now, here is a plant, the Alocasia Silver Dragon, that is really, I wouldn't recommend for beginners or people just getting into house plants or growing plants in their homes, because Alocasias are a little bit more finicky in a sense that they require a little bit more higher humidity. You really have to figure out what the watering consistency is for that, and it's just one of those plants that can be a little bit more difficult. And here's another gorgeous plant too, Begonia maculata. This one is by Costa Farms Trending Tropicals, $19.98, and these are actually healthy looking Begonia maculata. Sometimes I'll go to a big box store and you can see some of the leaves are damaged. You can see that this one is particularly happy because it has some new growth. There's 3 new leaves unfurled that have just recently unfurled and haven't hardened. I eventually will get a Begonia maculata. I guess I would just have to grow a little more of my begonias to see if I can grow them. My grandmother, who is actually my source of inspiration and got me into plants in general as a kid, can grow begonias like they're weeds. She propagates them. If you haven't seen, the shorts videos that I've posted of my grandmother, I know some of you guys requested to see some of her plants. She took a couple of coleus plants, like some small starter ones, and literally within, a couple months, she was able to create a full backyard full of coleus plants through plant propagation. So if you haven't checked that out, please do. And you can see we've got some more easy to care for plants. This is a Sansevieria Canary by Urban Jungle. This is also for $22.98. I love the variegation of this Sansevieria. I am just a little bit weary about Sansevierias just because I guess I'd never got the watering right. Like, I know that they can tolerate being underwatered, but if you go for a while without watering them, that's when they get what you call dry rot. And I think that's how I ended up killing my Sansevierias, and they can be prone to like fungus type diseases, which basically rot the leaves as well. So they're not as easy as you would think. And then this one is a Codonanthe plant right here. I'm not sure what this plant is. It's one that I haven't seen, but we will definitely, do our research on that. I am loving all of the hanging baskets at this Lowe's, and that's the reason why I guess in this plant shopping video, I really want to focus on the hanging baskets. You can see this one is a super healthy plant because it does have a bunch of new growth coming around. Whenever you look at plants, and I don't know if it's just me, I like to just look at my plants, and whenever I see like a new leaf unfurling or new growth, it brings me so much joy. I don't know if that's the same thing for you, but every day I wake up, I go inspect my plants, and when I see something new, it just makes me so happy. And I think that's the reason why plants make people happy. And it's awesome that we have this like plant community. I didn't really expect a lot of you guys to really consistently follow me, but I am just so thankful to have you guys on every single day. And you guys know you will hear me say every single day, Hydra Helix. And then right over here, we have another gorgeous looking philodendron heteroraceum lemon lime. One of the most basic plants, one of the most easiest plants, but one of the most impactful plants, I would definitely tell you, just because look at the leaves on this plant. Like, I'm so glad that this philodendron heteroraceum lemon lime is only $16.98. It is an easily accessible plant, very easy to grow, and a plant I would highly recommend for anybody that's beginning plants. It can really brighten up a darker space in your area because it can also tolerate lower light conditions. Now, the thing about it is, if it does go into a lower light setting, it will not be as yellow. So just keep that in mind, and you can see there's so many more like hanging baskets over here. Now we're going to be looking at some wick and grow plants by Costa Farms Exotic Angels. This one is a Fittonia, gorgeous pink plant. I think I'm going to eventually get a Fittonia this week if I go plant shopping. Once my my plant station is ready to go, I'm probably going to start adding a lot of plants because, I'll have the space and the organization for it. But I want to walk over here, guys. Plant foliage, check this out. So on the bottom of these plants, they have these wicks, but they have self-watering planters. So you just stick it in there and boom, you can have a gorgeous looking plant in a nice little ceramic planter. And then you don't have to worry about watering the plant because, and I'm going to try to show you the little water reservoir if I can just get this plant out, this little Fittonia. Kind of struggling here a little bit. Let's see what I can do. I actually want to keep this footage and not edit it out, but as you can see, the struggle is real. But if you look right over there, you just fill that up with a little bit of water at the bottom, and that little string will just pull water up. And that actually has a couple of benefits. You don't have to top water, which means the top surface of your plant remains fairly dry. And, for pests like fungus gnats, their eggs won't hatch because they need moisture. So I might eventually get into those ceramic planters that Lowe's has. And, if you're going to buy Lowe's plants, they already have it set up to where you can get those specific planters to go put your wick and grow plants. Like right over here, we have a Croton Petra, typical plant that you will see from Costa Farms, but needless to say, it is a nice price. $7.98 is not bad at all for this large plant. With crotons though, I would recommend just growing these crotons outdoors, full sun too, see what happens with that. And then we've got another Epipremnum aureum, golden pothos, the OG, easy to care for plant, the plant that probably has started many of your plant journeys. So if you're a plant foldie watching this video, please let me know in the comments. And I do ask because I'm really curious to see how many of you guys started out with a pothos plant, especially the golden pothos. I'd love to know. And then right over here, we've got a dark mystery Pilea plant. This is another plant that I would love to add to my collection. I am collecting Pilea plants. Something about Pilea plants, maybe it's just the texture, the metallic shine, the color of them. I just really like Pilea plants and they're doing very well for me. My Pan Am Pilea plant is probably doing the best, but I do want to get a dark mystery Pilea plant. I also want to try to get a terrarium set up. There's a lamp that I bought from Target that I can convert into a little terrarium. So we will see what that looks like. in the future. And then right over here we've got a dragon's tongue plant here. This one is also for $7.98. I am not 100% sure about like the care tips for the dragon tongue plant. Do you guys actually grow this plant? I do see this often offered as an Exotic Angels Costa Farm release. I might think about getting one. We'll see about that. And then right over here, look at this, another Hydra Helix, guys. This Hedera Helix Gold Baby is one that you would often see at big box stores. It's actually a common English ivy. What I like about it is, though, is just the variegation. That Aurea yellow variegation is gorgeous, and I do like the leaf shape of this particular, English ivy. I have seen a lot of English ivies at this particular Lowe's. The last time I was here, even though all of the plants were pretty much dead, they had a bunch of English ivy. So I don't know if they just get a shipment from Costa Farms, particularly for English ivies. And over here, we've got another gorgeous looking bird's nest fern plant by Costa Farms. This one is also $7.98. Now with bird's nest fern, I heard that they were actually fairly easy to take care of and they can get large. So that is another plant. I'm just telling you all of the plants that I'm like thinking about getting. And then right over here, we've got an Epipremnum aureum, a marble queen pothos. So you can see that this one has a different type of variegation. With marble queen pothos, though, I will tell you, while most pothos can pretty much tolerate lower light condition, this is one that you want to give bright indirect light, lots of it. Otherwise, it will start to revert back to green and become like a jade pothos. The variegation is somewhat stable, but if you want the really nice cream variegation, you definitely need to give this a little bit more light. Pothos plants, any type of pothos are easier to propagate as well. A project of mine is to actually get cuttings from all of my pothos I'm currently growing and then like making a mixed basket of different types of pothos. I think that would be super cool. And then right over here, we've got another Hydra Helix. Look at this one. Now this one is called the Design Ivy. And honestly, I've seen this called Design Ivy before. It's such a generic plant name though for this ivy, especially when you look at that. I would call this ivy like Frosty, Hedera Helix Frosty or something, because it does have some white frost on the leaves as if there was some type of snow on it. Really like this Hedera Helix, and you can look at the leaf shape. The leaf shape is a little bit more irregular. It's not perfect, and I do like the texture of it. This one is also for $7.98. So that's how many Hedera Helix have we looked at so far? I think 4. So if I was actually wanting to just break my bank, I would probably have picked up all of them and just said, hey, I got a little Hedera Helix plant collection. And here we've got some perfect looking Begonia maculatas. Whenever I do plant shopping videos, I honestly do that obviously to get you guys that daily content, because a lot of you guys have mentioned that, my plant videos make your day, and I love bringing that positive energy to our plant community. But for me personally, especially since I have such a very stressful and demanding job, plant shopping, although I'm not really buying plants, gives me plant therapy. So plant foldies or any of the viewers watching this video, leave in the comments if you actually just go plant shopping by just watching looking at plants for like plant therapy. It definitely gets you that mindfulness. I just like looking at all of the foliage, even if it's the same plants that we see pretty much every single day. For some reason, I just get so much stress relief off of it, and it just brings me so much joy. And what brings me a lot of joy too is to see that they've got a lot of Aglaonema red siams. That one is for $15.98. And then we've got another Hedera Helix or Hydra Helix. This is the Francis Hedera Helix. Look at that though. They have a different type of there's some striping on the actual ivy. So that's really precious. If English ivy were not so difficult to grow, and you can ask any plant collector and they will tell you growing English ivy indoors is one of the most challenging plants because they are such spider mite prone. Like even And then what I didn't realize is actually, even if you put systemic granules to prevent pests, that doesn't cover spider mites. So what I found is if you actually want to grow Hedera helix or English ivy indoors, you want to just spray them with like neem oil, you know, a preventative thing like that. I was also told that they tend to like to be a little bit more underwatered, just because I guess something alongside with the roots, because if an English ivy isn't happy, it will get unhealthy, and then that's when the spider mites find its way to conquer it. But I'm so thankful that it hasn't. And you can see I showed you guys that Photonia, and then we have another fern plant right here. Now these are the smaller exotic angel plants for $5.98. And if I'm kind of struggling to get this one, but I did want to show you this. This is a gorgeous looking croton mame. I mean, look at the leaves here. I don't know why, you know, crotons are either you love them or you hate them. I love them. I had a situation though where one of my crotons that I imported from Indonesia dropped all of its leaves. It's still alive. It's just leafless. So I am hoping that by growing it outside in full sun, and when the weather has warmed up, that it will grow its leaves back, because it's a gorgeous one. It's one of those crotons that you don't see often in the United States. But even a common croton mame like this, like look at that. The more light a croton receives, the better coloration it's going to get. You know, crotons are another plant that I would definitely grow if I had more tropical weather, because those are plants that you definitely need to grow outdoors. And here is a Belgian waffle plant. Love waffle plants. The Belgian waffle plant is more like caramel beige in its variegation with some subtle pinks. This one is for $5.98. The Snow White waffle plant I have is doing okay. It's crisping a little bit. My purple waffle plant is doing great, no issues at all. And then I was able to get one on clearance at HEB, which is a local grocery store in Texas, a Belgian waffle plant. I ended up getting it for 50% off just because it did have a little bit of crisping. So I've finally completed my waffle plant trifecta. And you can see here we've got, whoa, another Hedera helix. This one is another Francis Hedera helix. Again, the leaves have some, you know, some striping and a little bit of veining that I like about it. It's mostly green though, and you can see that the shape is a little bit differently. You know, it's a little different is what I meant. You know, I like English ivies because they remind me of maples, and maple trees are my favorite trees in general alongside ginkgos, because I don't know, I just like the leaf shape. And then, you know, shout out to my Canadian plant foldies. I know there's a lot of you guys out there. Thank you for always going into the live premiere chats. It brings me so much joy to see you guys. I'm hoping that you guys will end up getting as many plants as I've been showing you in Canada, because a lot of these plants actually are sourced from Canada if it's not from Florida. And then right over here, we've got a pia tree plant. I had a variegated version that I might end up getting eventually, but look at that. That looks like a trident maple leaf or maple leaves. And this one is more, it grows upright. So it doesn't trail. It definitely grows upright. So it's going to need to be staked up, but I really like that. I actually found a lot of old school throwback photos of some of my plants. So I will be uploading those to show you guys on my Instagram. And if you haven't already started following me on Instagram, please do. I am at Growfolds. You can send me direct messages. It is the fastest way to get in touch with me directly, and you'll be able to see some of my personal plant collection as I discovered a lot of my old school plants, and I will post some of my origami creations as well. And here we have a philodendron hederaceum, just a green variety. This one is also for $5.98, and all of the plants I'm showing you have the little string. So these are called Wick and Grow exotic angel plants. So you can put them in self-watering planters, and this is actually one Hedera helix. English ivy, or this one's called the starling English ivy. Look at how serrated the leaves are, how fine the leaves are. Really nice texture. It almost reminds me of like a particular Japanese maple. Look at that. I really like that as well. And you know, what is this, like number 5 or 6 as far as English ivies that we've seen so far at this particular Lowe's? That's actually the most English ivies I've seen so far at a big box store. And I'm going to pull out another Hedera helix. Yeah, this English ivy right here, I'm telling you, I'm struggling to get it. This one is the Little Herman English ivy, and this one is actually trailing. Look at that. Love the variegation on this one. This one has tri-lobe leaves. It's really interesting that every English ivy has a different type of leaf shape, but you can definitely tell it's an ivy. Or, I mean, could you imagine seeing a maple with that type of variegation? That would be stunning. But again, if I was in that hoarding, like, let me just collect every single type of, plant in that particular genus, I would have picked up all the English ivies here. I'm actually still tempted to go back and buy all of them and see, but I already know, as gorgeous as an English ivy is, you have to be really prepared to put in a little bit more work for the plants. And, that's what I would suggest, because look at right here. This is another gold dust Hydra helix. This English ivy right here. Look at this gold dust English ivy. Mine is doing spectacular. I'm proud of myself. And I don't know if it's because I'm just putting a lot more effort into the care for that. And then right over here, we've got a beautiful looking bronze Venus fern. I really like this bronze Venus fern as well. It reminds me of a maidenhair fern. I would assume this one would really need a lot of humidity though. So that is a plant, that's probably the reason why I haven't added a lot of ferns into my plant collection, just because of the humidity levels that they require. Plant foliage, check this out. Guess what? Here is another Hydra helix. This one is an asterisk Hedera helix, or English ivy. This one is an ivy that I first saw when I was out in Austin, Texas at a Lowe's. First time seeing it, and I really do like the leaf shape of this particular English ivy. It does look like an asterisk. Very clever name. So Costa Farms, thank you for releasing that. Love that you guys have so many English ivies. I'm actually curious to see if Costa Farms can release like a list of like English ivies they have in circulation. You got to catch them all, right, and collect them all. I would, but I just don't have like the time or energy to really invest in just the plant care. I'm already being very bad about just my plants being neglected. I think it's because of how I do my YouTube channel. So I had a plant foldy actually send me a direct message asking me the process on how I make my videos. So to sum it up, typically I'll get off work, or if I'm off, I will try to film as much footage as possible. So typically it's 1 hour of actually filming the footage. It takes me maybe an hour and a half to edit the video by putting the plant IDs. Since most of you guys like the plant IDs, I've kept them there. And then I have to go back and spend another hour to do the voiceover. And it takes about 30 minutes for me to save it on my phone, and then it uploads. And then, yeah, so it's quite a bit of a tedious process, but nonetheless, it is part of my, it's part of my daily routine now. It's something that is therapeutic, but I do have to put in a lot more effort. So I hope you guys appreciate that. That being said, after you guys look at this Hydra helix, this one doesn't have the a particular plant ID. I do ask, with all of the efforts I put into these plant videos, if you guys want me to continue to do that, all I ask is to make sure that if you haven't already and made it this far into the video, please make sure you are hitting the like button. And after the video is complete, like after the live premiere or after you finish watching the video, please leave comments in the comment section as well. I would love that. And here we've got a Pilea Pan Am. This one I would actually buy right now, just because look at how full this particular Pilea is. The thing about Pilea plants is you have to trim them back as well, otherwise they get leggy. They're kind of similar to Tradescantias, but look at that gorgeous texture on the leaves. I thought this would be a finicky plant, but it's actually quite easy to grow. I'm not even growing it in high humidity levels. It's just an ambient humidity, and it's doing very well for me. That one was for $5.98, and we're going to keep looking at this. And look, there is another Hydra helix. This one is that Starling Hedera helix again. Look at how serrated the leaves are. And actually, if you are in the live premiere chats, can you figure out how many times I say Hydra helix in this video? Because I've said it a lot, and I guess it's just because there's a lot of English ivy to see. And right over here, this one is a better variegated marble queen pothos. Look at how gorgeous that is. Look at how highly variegated it is. That, those two leaves right there would actually look more so like a snow queen pothos. So you asked me the difference between a snow queen pothos and a marble queen. Marble queen has more cream variegation, and snow queen pothos has more white variegation. So just to answer that question, oh my gosh, here is another Hydra Helix. This one is a Royal Hustler Hedera Helix. I've seen this ivy actually, and this one actually has more like triangular shape. It's not as pronounced in its shape, but you know what? The triangular shape is actually nice. It's a different type of texture, and right next to it there is another English ivy. This one is just called Hedera Helix, but this one has more irregular leaves. Like it's kind of like, it almost looks like it's mutated because of how the leaves have grown. Pretty cool though. And then you can see there is a tray full of more gold baby English ivies. Lots and lots of plants. I am thinking that this particular Lowe's just recently unpacked their plants, and I'm lucky for that. I am so happy that I'm able to go see these plants. Like right over here, we've got a gorgeous looking syngonium, some type of syngonium illusion. Syngoniums, again, if you don't have one, grow one in your plant collection, plant foldies. It's easy. Now this plant I'm picking up right here is a Dieffenbachia Camille. This one we've seen in a lot of my other videos. Dieffenbachias are gorgeous to look at. They look like aglaonemas, but they're quite difficult to grow because they require a lot of bright light and they are spider mite prone. So you just got to keep an eye on that. And right over here, we've got another Rex begonia, gorgeous looking Rex begonia. Actually, this one's for $5.98. You can see that it's got some beautiful red stems. Now with Rex begonias, you want to bottom water them versus top watering because you don't want to get the leaves, and you definitely don't want to get the stems wet. But guys, look at this. Here is another Hydra Helix. This one is the Mint Calibre Hedera Helix. I like this one. I've seen this before at this particular Lowe's actually when I first visited it. And what makes it interesting is the actual variegation. Sometimes you will see some mint variegation. Sometimes you'll get some stark yellow. I'm not really seeing that stark yellow variegation, but this was actually a Hedera Helix that I would have bought today as I was filming, this video to add to my collection. But, I had to have a little bit of restraint. I mean, basically, if I picked up this particular English ivy, I probably would have picked up the 7 or 8 that we've already seen so far during this plant shopping video. Gorgeous looking English ivy. I am still trying to find out if there's like any plant influencers, YouTubers, anybody on Instagram that just exclusively grows English ivy. Please send that in the comments. I would really love to see that, and I'm struggling to get this. But here is another Hedera Helix Mint Calibre Calabri ivy. This one doesn't really have that yellow variegation that I saw last time. Maybe this almost looks like a Bettina English ivy, but you know what? I'm gonna go with what Costa Farms labeled this. Sometimes there are mislabels for plants, but that's what it's labeled as, so I'm gonna go with that. And you can see there's just so many plants to choose from, and look at how full this plant nursery in this Lowe's is. Just so gorgeous. Now look at this perfect looking Calathea Green Goddess in a self-watering planter. This one is from Costa Farms for $15.98. Here is a Calathea I would actually buy for $15.98 and just convert it into a hydroponic situation. I have just found that whenever you grow Calatheas in a hydroponic situation or just straight water in like a bowl, it's so easy for them to grow because you don't have to worry about actually having to water them. They get that ambient humidity because they're in standing water, and it's just a really nice look as well to see the roots. So that might be a plant I might eventually get, especially if a lot of these Lowe's are going to get us full and brand new healthy plants like this. And we're looking at this end cap that we always see at any type of Lowe's. This has some urban jungle and Live Trends hanging baskets and some air plants. I'm not really into air plants, but you can see right over here, this is somebody that changed their mind on buying this Epiprimnum aureum lemon meringue pothos. This is by Urban Jungle for $13.98. Now with lemon meringue pothos, to get that yellow variegation, you have to give it a lot of bright indirect light. That is actually a Costa Farms release. And you can see right here, wow, I haven't seen these at all at a Lowe's. This is an Alocasia dragon scale for $13.98. This was actually a plant. If I had to pick all of the plants I've seen so far, this would have been the plant I would have bought at this Lowe's. I didn't, unfortunately, just because I am, I'm adding a lot of plants, and the thing about it is with Alocasia, there is just a lot more care to Alocasias than you think. But look at how gorgeous the undersides of the leaves are. This one is actually a little bit more uncommon as compared to the silver dragon Alocasia. It's kind of like gone backwards, where before the Alocasia silver dragon was more uncommon, but now I don't really see a lot of dragon scale Alocasia out in the market like that, or maybe at least at big box stores. Beautiful looking Alocasia. And the thing about Alocasia is they do multiply fairly quickly, and get little baby shoots out of them. And we have a bunch of more hanging baskets, and look at this full world full plants. I'm going to pan away and just show you what else we have here. In a previous video, but this is a gorgeous looking Rex begonia hanging basket. That red Rex begonia is gorgeous. We have some Ficus lyrata right over here, a bunch of blooming anthuriums that we saw earlier in this video, a bunch of bird's nest ferns, and a bunch of hanging baskets. And you can see right over here, we've got one of my favorite plants, a plant that I need to add to my collection. This is a variegated peperomia teardrop. This one is for $20.98 because this is the larger hanging basket. Look at the subtle variegation on it, and I just like that it's got like a yellow-green color. And then we've got another Hydra Helix. This one is a hanging basket of gold baby Hydra Helix or Hedera Helix. Look at the variegation on it, and you can see as it really starts to get full how gorgeous this is. The problem with English ivy is if it does get like spider mite infestation, what will go first is the top part of the hanging basket. It'll get super bare, and then it just doesn't look good, and it's just hard to actually recover from that. And then right over here is another Hydra Helix. This one, I have always wondered if they just call it English ivy, because this one should have like a plant ID for it, because look at that. It looks like seashells curled up. I really like the texture of this particular English ivy. It's very unique. It's one of the more unique varieties I've seen. And this one looks like it is really trending. I do love my English ivies. So this was a very nice surprise to see at this big box store. I didn't mean to make this episode about English ivies, but it's starting to feel like that's all I've been talking about is English ivies because there's so many varieties. So I wanted to show you what I found. So right here, we've got a gold baby English ivy. That's English ivy number 1. This one is English ivy number 2. This is a Pixie Dixie Hedera Helix. This one I didn't actually pull out, but I found it, so that's number 2. Number 3 is a Francis Hedera Helix, another English ivy that has some really cool veins right over here. That's number 3. So that's 3 English ivies we've seen so far. Here is that design English ivy that we saw earlier. That is number 4. Actually, this is one of my favorite ones because it looks like there's like snow on it or just like the frosting on it. Really cool looking English ivy. And then this is English ivy number 5. This is the Starling Hedera Helix. Love the serrated leaves on it. Very delicate. And then we have a little Herman Hedera Helix. That's English ivy number 6. Like that is a lot of English ivy at a big box store, just different varieties. So if you wanted to start a English ivy collection, this is the Lowe's you needed to go to. And then here is a Mint Colibre Hedera Helix right here. That is number 7. This one is for $5.98. Nice looking English ivy. Look at that variegation, and I think that's also why I like English ivy. They just come in so many varieties. And then here is English ivy number 8. This one is an Asterix Hedera Helix. Nice looking shape. And then we have a Gold Dust English ivy right over here. That's English ivy number 9. And then we've got this English ivy or Hedera helix, that's number 10. So many English ivies. My only plant care tips for English ivies is just pay attention to the spider mites if they get it, before they get it. Anyways, we're gonna go back to all of the other hanging baskets right over here. I did just want to show you how full this Lowe's is. And again, whenever you're big box store plant shopping, just assume, even if these plants look super healthy and they just got unpacked from like their boxes off the pallet, assume that there might be some potential pests. So what you want to do is when you bring a plant home, spray it down with some preventative like neem oil spray, insecticidal soap. If you're into using systemic granules, put that on the soil, and make sure you're quarantining your plants. Obviously, if you're going to go big box store plant shopping, you want to check the undersides of the leaves for any pests. If you see any type of like browning on the tips of the leaves, you might want to check to see if it's like thrifts or something like that. And if you find a plant that was next to a plant you wanted to buy that had pests, I would recommend not buying it. You always want to buy plants that are in a healthy environment, because pests can travel from one plant to another. Just, some more tips. And you can see here, perfect looking Calathea green goddess. And there's always been memes or just sayings that Calatheas look perfect when you see them in store, but give them 2 weeks and they are on the brink of death. And I can say that and attest to that, because Calatheas are such finicky plants. One thing I will also say about Calatheas is you want to make sure you're watering Calatheas with distilled water or purified water. They don't really like water from tap. Sometimes it will damage the edges of the leaves, and that's with any type of like Calathea, Marantha, Stramanthe, Nanthe plants. Those types of plants are a little bit more sensitive. And you see this one, actually, I would like to know, plant foldies, do y'all know this plant ID for this particular Calathea? Because it has like subtle lavender color variegation, but it kind of looks similar to like the green goddess one that I pulled. Whenever you see different types of genus of plants, your inkling is you want to collect them all. Like I would have bought both of those Calatheas, but knowing that Calatheas are a little bit more challenging, and you have to have some self-restraint. It's the same thing with all of the English ivy. Like I literally would have bought all 10 of them, but knowing that English ivy are challenging, I just don't want that heartache of having to really check on them a little bit more often. My lifestyle and just the way I, live my life doesn't, is not conducive to having such finicky plants. So, that goes to show that whenever you are growing plants in general, as much as we all love looking at plants and want to add plants, I'm a big advocate about making sure plants bring you joy and not stress by overwhelming you with the plant care tips. And then right over here, we've got a Bonnie spider plant. This one's actually perfect. With spider plants, I've seen that they can get a little bit browning and crisping on the tips of the leaves. This one is perfect. And I honestly would get the Bonnie spider plant because it just looks like, look at the curls on the leaves. It's super cool. And wait till it actually starts to push out babies. That would be amazing. And you can see we've got just tons of hanging baskets. And we've got some elegant and gorgeous looking Raven ZZ plants, one of the easiest plants that you can grow. And this one is in a self-watering planter by Costa Farms, so it's even more easy. You just put a little water, it will water itself. And honestly, the way you can kill a ZZ plant is just by overwatering, but that one can really grow in lower light conditions. And one of my favorite plants, aglaonemas, especially this one, love the pink on this aglaonema. Now with these type of aglaonemas right here, you want to make sure that you're giving it a lot of bright indirect light. I noticed that there is also a flower on that aglaonema. I would suggest cutting the flowers off of aglaonemas because it will spend more energy producing a flower versus pushing out new leaves. So it stuns its growth a little bit, but those need a lot more light in order for it to keep its pink color. And right over here, we've got a gorgeous looking Alocasia silver dragon. This one's a little bit smaller. It kind of doesn't look like a silver dragon just because it hasn't like really matured. But that is a silver dragon, I believe. And you can see super full plants. This Lowe's has really redeemed itself. It doesn't even look like the Lowe's I saw when all of the plants were dying because of the frost damage. And you can see right over here, I'm going to pan over and show you just more of these plants and we can admire them. somebody changed their mind on buying all of these plants, or if this Lowe's just didn't have space to put these plants because they've got so many plants. It's super packed, but that was just a cart full of plants. I did want to just walk outside briefly to show you the outdoor section, and I do like the setup here. Now, when I was filming this, I was battling the rain. It was a rainy day when I filmed this video, so I might end up getting a little bit of rain, but that is okay. I will do it for you plant foldies because I do want to show you different types of plants besides indoor plants. Like, look at these gorgeous succulents and cactus right over here. Really like that. They've got some aloe vera plants, some agave plants right over there, and I'm always fascinated whenever I see a barrel cactus. Like, look at how prickly this is. How would you repot this plant? How would you transfer this plant? That looks pretty dangerous. And I like this little water fixture here. This fountain's actually on clearance. So it's reduced price, nice looking water fixture. Would love to get one. I saw a couple that I was interested in that were being sold at Callaway's Nursery, which is a local plant nursery I often visit. And you can see here some kangaroo palls. Look at that. I didn't realize that this was actually more of a succulent type plant. I saw that at Callaway's as well. Nice colors. It's bright. It's very much spring. I love that it is spring now, so we'll be able to get a lot more plants available. It is raining pretty hard though. I'm actually in the sheltered area, but I am gonna go venture out here a little bit more and show you more of their flowering plants. I love hydrangeas. You know, hydrangeas kind of remind me of, azaleas, gardenias. Those types of flowers are the type of plants I want to grow in my landscape, but it is a little bit more challenging. So somebody suggested that instead of trying to grow them in my landscape, maybe just growing them in planters. But then what do I do when it's winter, right? Like, do I just overwinter them? Plant foldies, or anybody watching this video right now, leave in the comments if you are in the North Dallas area or Texas and have successfully grown hydrangeas. What are your care tips? Because I am going to attempt to do that. I actually want to get a variegated hydrangea. And you can see more flowering plants right here. Lots of petunias. They've got a lot of like new varieties of petunias. I think they call them supertunias by Proven Winners. And you can see we've got some more hydrangeas right over here. What's interesting about hydrangeas is depending on this acidity or pH level of the soil kind of dictates what kind of like colors that they have. So you can kind of change their colors as well. But you can see they've got purple ones, they've got blue ones, they got pink ones like this right here. Look at how gorgeous that is. And hydrangeas, again, need really acidic soil to really thrive. The way you can make soil acidic is actually by getting coffee grinds and just sprinkling them on top of the soil or mixing it in. I do that with my azaleas, and that actually makes them be able to take like the nutrients and stuff a little bit more efficiently. And then right over here, we've got some more ground cover. So this one kind of looks like a tractor seat plant, but this is a plant by Monrova. This one's for $18.98. I wouldn't know if you can actually grow this plant indoors, but look at that silver. It's amazing, isn't it? Also like that it looks, it looks very round and it's curled up kind of like the tractor seat plant, but on a much smaller level. And you can see there's a bunch of hostas right over here. Now hostas, I do like them because just the color, like the green on green variegation. But I am curious, plant foldies, do you guys ever like try to grow these plants that are really meant for outdoors, indoors? Like this one's for $7.98. That is not a bad price at all. Like, is that even possible to grow a hosta indoors? I just always feel like whenever you grow a plant that's meant to be grown outdoors, they typically just get spider mites. So I don't know. Just let me know if you guys have grown hostas indoors. That'd be awesome to see what your experience is. And then over here, we've got a bunch of geraniums. The only thing I don't like about geraniums is they don't smell that good. I don't know what it is about geraniums, but what I do know is they do have beautiful foliage and flowers. Just, I don't like the smell. And then we're gonna walk over here and see that we have some more coral bells, some more flowering plants. And then I wanted to show you guys this because I've seen this grown indoors. This is a variegated boat lily, or that's one of the names that this plant is. This is also called the Cradle of Moses. This one is for $8.98. That one is actually the most variegated. Love pink plants. Purple plants are amazing. And we're gonna pan over here. I am now in the rain getting a little bit wet, but it is okay because I wanted to show you guys a little bit more of the plants. Like, look at how hard it's raining here. Yikes, I am soaking wet at this point. But I wanted to walk over here and show you some encore azaleas. So azaleas are one of my plants that I love. They kind of remind me of English ivy, or at least my relationship with the plant, because as much as I love them and admire them, they're just a little bit more finicky for me to grow. Like, I've attempted multiple times to just plant them in the ground, grow them in my space outdoors, but for some reason they don't really survive, at least the encore azaleas. Now, I, to my surprise, have been able to grow Satsuki azaleas. 2 of them have actually made it over the winter, even though it did get like super cold and froze over. They're still alive and they're about to push out some blooms. So I will show you guys some footage of that at some point, but I did want to walk over here and then show you some of the flowering trees. So you know that I love Japanese gardens. Anything Japanese related, actually, the culture is amazing, but you can see that peach trees are here. People like myself actually don't grow peach trees for the peaches. I grow them for the spring blooms. And so I actually have 2 peach trees growing in my backyard. One that I bought from Lowe's like 2 years ago, and another one I bought online, the variegated peppermint peach tree. Variegated blooms. It looks so awesome. If you haven't ever seen a video, not a video, but a picture of it, definitely Google peppermint peach tree and you'll see what I mean. Such gorgeous blooms. Love the cherry blossom look that it has. And you can see I'm just walking by a bunch of different types of shrubs. I'm going to be working on my landscape at some point this coming week. I meant to do that this weekend, but you know, plans change, and you can see that they've got several pots right here. I do prefer the terracotta look if I'm going to buy just like a basic pot. The terracotta pots are amazing, especially for plants that don't like to be overwatered. And then here's another Hydra helix. That's another English ivy. That is number 11 that I saw at this Lowe. So that's super interesting. But you can see we've got some annuals. We've got some hanging baskets of pothos. We've got some more hydrangeas here. Love the pink one. Actually, that's my favorite color for a hydrangea, is the pink one. And I am about to go ahead and pick this up for my Plantfoldy viewer subscriber, Steven, to take that to him when we meet in person at some point. I know that he had requested if I found one to get one for him. So Steven, that Manjula pothos is for you. I want to make sure that I got the best one for you. So that may not be the one I end up with. I think I saw a couple more out there, but as you can see, what a nice looking Lowe's shopping that we did today. And I ended up finding another Manjula pothos with better variegation. So here you go, Steven. I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. It was a rainy Saturday when I filmed this, but look at that. Please make sure you guys are hitting the like button as always. I know I repeat myself for that, but it really does help with the engagement on my channel. This is Richie at Grow Folds. Please subscribe. And guys, I will see you on the next video. Bye.